everybody, I'm super excited to have, and tell me if I say your name wrong, Rosanna St. John.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. On the show today, she is in New York and has a cannabis bookkeeping and marketing offering at her site, and which is awesome because so I've got a whole ton of stuff I want to talk to you about. One theme I want to not forget is marketing, because I swear at least 9 out of 10 accountants, bookkeepers, I don't care what degrees they've got or not, they tell me, I hate marketing, I hate sales. And so it's awesome to meet someone that does not hate marketing and sales. So that's great as well. I'm going to let you jump in and give more of your bio, and by the way, we'll put all the links and how to reach you for cannabis people out there that want to get a hold of Rosanna. We're going to make it super easy. Her company is called Cannabis Bookkeeper LLC, and that's also her website as well. We'll put that in the links. You've been doing this for about 16 years, managing businesses ranging from 6 to 65 employees. You're a certified public bookkeeper through the National Association of Certified Public Bookkeepers, which is amazing. And you specialize in cannabis. And you've also co-founded the Women's Cannabis Cooperative of Buffalo. And I definitely want to hit on that as well, because that to me is the number one thing we should be doing as accountants, is getting involved and joining groups or founding them. I can't tell you how many people in this program have actually founded a group, which is awesome. So why don't you tell me, you jump in and kind of give us more color on your background and where you are and what you're doing, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, totally. So I've been an advocate for the cannabis industry for about 15 years. It was early 2020 when I lost my job because of the pandemic. Like so many people,
Yeah.
I'm so used to my 9 to 5 and my security and my safe, working for someone else. And all my positions were really, really heavy in bookkeeping, managerial accounting, management. I was doing a lot of general management. So once I was posed with that, what's next? Bookkeeping seemed like the right fit. And it just seemed to make sense to get certified. So that was the first step I took. And that was before New York had done anything with the MLTA. Like, I was not expecting for this to line up so beautifully for
So
me.
perfectly, yes.
I was graced with timing on this. So I finished my bookkeeping certification. I got that just to have it. You don't need it, but it just made me feel better. And I started my business officially in May. So I'm a new. I've only been here for 4 or 5 months. And it's scary. I started as an LLC, and I'm going through all the processes, right before my clients are. But I'm walking my clients through the processes, and it's helpful for them to have someone to go to for all this. So.
Yeah, that's just awesome. And you hit on a couple of points right off the bat. So that's a great background. Yes, you are not the only one in our program that lost their job last year in COVID. And so there's kind of all these different factors, even before COVID, just the fact that we have all these tools and systems, that it is incredibly easy to be a bookkeeper, CPA, CFO, and work out of your bedroom all across the US. We've got those tools. We have the birth of this massive industry. And literally just in the last 6 months, like you said, New York, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Virginia, the Eastern Seaboard we already had Massachusetts and Pennsylvania and New Jersey. And so it's just, the green light has been hit. The button is all systems go. It's, in my opinion, it is going to be absolutely massive. We have about, I think, 100,000 companies in the US right now. I guarantee the East Coast is going to have 200,000 to 300,000 companies over the next couple of years. So that's timed perfectly. And yeah, people, not even accountants, are after COVID slammed us, people, even I know a lot of people in the restaurant business. I live in a tourist town, and they're leaving and wanting a career. Well, accounting and cannabis both are recession proof, COVID proof. And so that's awesome that you got in at the right time, because New York is we all know is going to be absolutely huge. Why don't you jump in? And I like to hear about this too. and this is where you could color in some of the marketing stuff you do. So every person, I just like to hit this home because I am a CPA and I am at a Big Four, and I've had a long career. So I have, excuse me, I have the advantages of, oh, I can say, oh, I had the letters behind that, my name or whatever. But on the other hand, I wasn't always like that. I was a 29-year-old waiter, and went back to school. But I've learned over my 30 years that 85% of the stuff I do, I often think in my head, oh, I could have done this when I was 25. It takes organization, or takes being resourceful or responsive, or just help, or maybe being good at marketing. So there's so many things we can do for our clients that don't take all these letters behind your name. So tell me some of those skills that you have.
Yeah, I mean, you just hit on so many different things. It's just there's so many people that are so excited. And these are people that haven't necessarily thought about opening their own businesses yet. So you're really starting at square one. I start with a consultation appointment and we do 90 minutes. They can ask me whatever they want and I will answer everything I can. If I can't answer something, I redirect them to somebody in my network. That was one of the big parts of Dope CFO, building your network. So, I hooked up with an attorney, I hooked up with a CPA, I have people in state and out of state, because not everybody works well with everyone else.
Yeah.
So, and it's about customizing your services and customizing your team, right? Like, we're here to serve the clients. And my thing is, I'd like to help you from start to finish, and I want to be part of your growing success with you.
Now
So,
well, a
what?
couple of skills I just want to highlight on yours, and I'll talk about community in a second. So right off the bat, you've been passionate about the cannabis industry. So that's not a prerequisite. And I've got people that, I mean, they're 62 in Indiana and they said they've never seen a joint in their life, and they aren't one way or the other. But if you happen to be passionate and deep in the industry, it gives you another little piece of advantage. The products, the companies, the owners get it really quickly. And so it helps you get clients. But you also have had a background helping manage companies. And a lot of these founders are they might be great at growing pot or whatever, but they're not really strong on managing a company. So if you can come in and say, look, I'm going to help you on the management side, accounting, tax, bookkeeping, and oh, by the way, I can do marketing things too. Well, like Instagram. I know you're on Instagram. That's huge for cannabis brands. And if you say, hey, I can help you do your posting or whatever, do your reels, that I'm imagining, I mean, I don't know, do your clients probably love that?
Oh, they eat it up, right? And who wouldn't? You have all these CPAs, all these non-creative people, right? You have everybody that is, black and white, by the book. I want to sit down and I want to do my work and balance it and be done. And that's just not how social media is. But I think that's the fun part, right? Because it really is an equation and you really are just trying to solve a problem. And, your goal is to get as many views or interactions as you can. So my thing is I approach it all like a formula.
Did you have any background in art or design or anything? Because it is something most of your competitors in the bookkeeping space, and I mean, I talk to bookkeepers all day long, just literally hate marketing. So you got an advantage if you're not afraid to market or actually to talk to the business owners. I mean, that's another kind of subtopic. Most marketing people that like it are extroverted and talk to people, but that's another issue that relates to not liking marketing. They don't like to actually talk to the business owner.
So talking to the business owners is something that has recently been a lot more comfortable for me, because after going through the program and being able to build my foundation, I have the knowledge. I can speak to it. I can reference things. I can reference court cases and states, and we can talk about historical things that the owners may not know, but it may be giving us a preview into why New York is taking so long or why X, Y, and Z is happening. And these are all articles and these are all pieces of information that I wouldn't have had without the program.
Well, that is very awesome to hear. So two more things I want to mention on that. So one, you did mention the community, which I consider part 4 of the program, but an amazing part. We've got this network of 400 of us across the US, and we have attorneys and CPAs and bookkeepers and CFOs. And so it doesn't matter what you're helping your client with, you can say, I will bring them anything. You're a certified bookkeeper, but if they need someone to do an audit or evaluation, you've got that resource. Or if you need help raising capital, whatever it is, there's nothing you can't put to our community that we won't get. We, I think, can say we collectively are the premier community in the US right now. Nobody can match us with our depth or breadth. And the AICPA, I think, has recognized that by having us help plan and speak and present at that conference this fall. So I'm super excited about that. Tell me, I want to hear about these. You signed 3 new clients. Tell us about these 3 new clients, and did you use any of the program to help find them or land them, and how it's going so far?
So I started everything just on Instagram. And I honestly started my Instagram kind of as a test pilot to see where I was going. And then the MRTA happened, and we spoke on the phone. I entered into the program, and I had set up my first 3 meetings for the week after I started the program, just because I didn't know what I was getting into.
Yeah.
I walked into these meetings just bursting with confidence, with so much information.
Oh, good.
At that point, I could barely even filter through like what I needed to know, what was relevant. It's just so much. But I was honest with my clients, and I was like, I'm just getting into this. I'm going to be completely honest with you. And they were all completely game and completely for it. And having the engagement documents that you provide made it so much easier. It put everything right down on paper and made me more confident in saying and finding value in my services.
Well, that's really good. And again, so yeah, we want to have, first of all, part 1 of our program, that education and training, we want to get someone who's never seen a joint in their life to by day 90, knowing everything about the science, the plants, the strains, the accounting, the tax, the court cases, all that stuff. So you can be confident. And so when you walk in there, I love how you were honest. Instead of, so many people have imposter syndrome. They're like, oh, I'm going to fake it. I'm going to go in and pretend I know everything. But to say, look, I'm in the Dope CFO program, so many cannabis owners have or can quickly find out about our program. So they're like, oh, you're in that. And then that gives you that confidence as you say, look, I've got these resources at my back. So even if I get stuck, or you ask me a question about some obscure question about entity selection or whatever, you don't know that answer, you can get it the same day and get back to them. And just, I say, using the word we instead of I, then they have the confidence, oh yeah, we're bringing on the Dope CFO network, and they're psyched about it. And it can just give you that more confidence to be honest and be like, yeah, you're just getting started, but you're going to be doing, those two big, huge things in my program that have nothing to do with accounting: being responsive and being organized, just bringing that organization through our tools to the client right away, and being responsive. Now, I can't make anybody responsive, but if you are responsive to your clients and accessible, they're going to love you, because the fact is, starting with the big 4 and working on the way down even to our 2 and 3 CPA member firms or whatnot, yeah, good luck. I have to deal with these people a lot, where you email and you get an email back 2 weeks later. So I think that's one thing we can do well. What process did you use to book the meetings and sign them up? Did you actually use some of our documents and engagement letter, et cetera? And
I had started to, I started with the whole kit and caboodle. I did it all, you know what I mean? Came out the gate strong. And as I've signed more people and as I've worked with more people, I have found that the formalities can be a little bit intimidating. And I think some people kind of get lost in the pieces. So I really have it limited. I use a lot of the content, kind of sporadically. Like, you'll see a little bit of a little bit of it on my website. Every once in a while, I'll pop a little bit of it onto my Instagram. But I really try to keep my super legal jargon. I try to keep that all really limited, just because I know my clients and I know their attention.
Yeah, you definitely want to keep them happy. Was there anything that you learn from the first few onboarding or landing them that you think you could have done better, or you'll improve the next time? I know I learn almost every time I land a client, I think, oh, I should have done that.
Right. Every single time I have gone to a meeting and signed someone, I'm like, ooh, okay, notes for next time. But that's so important, right? And this industry keeps changing and growing, so our process needs to keep changing and growing. And I think that piece is one of the biggest points of resistance from the traditional workforce.
Now, do they, when you talk to these clients, did hopefully you put in our engagement letter that they're growing pretty rapidly, so you want to make sure that they'll let them know your fees are going to probably grow every quarter too. I like to make sure people have that piece in there as well.
That's so important. And you should be, right? Like you should be reevaluating your service. Milk doesn't cost the same every time you go to the grocery store, and you don't argue with anybody about that.
Yeah.
So, it just is one of those things you come to expect. So it's something
Yeah.
that I'm very upfront with my clients about.
And in this industry, I've never seen one where you get a dispensary client, but a year later they got 3 dispensaries and a farm, or you have a farm and they're selling pot and they're like, why don't we have a dispensary, or why don't we have a processor? And they just are growing like nuts. So it's great that we can help them with every stage of that growth. Let's follow up with, tell me first, is there anything in particular you like about the Dope CFO program, or something you hate? You can tell what you think of it, and hopefully you're enjoying it.
I hated how much reading it was. Um, no, I learned so much through the reading. My favorite, like the best part of it for me, was that I didn't have to get certified or finish it, or you know what I mean, make it through a completion exam to start using it. Day one, you sent me the information and it was like, okay, you can get started. And then you even gave me the advantage of like, if you're signing a client, this is where you start. So start on section 3, skip 1, you can go back and do it later. And that's what I needed. So it really was a good fit for me. And I think it's a good fit for a lot of people. They just need to be open to it.
Okay, well, that's awesome to hear. Yeah, and I made it originally to be plug and play, and I've taken courses that are not plug and play, where it's just education and you're supposed to take notes and then go create the tools on your own. It's like, no, if you need a note payable document for your client, I want you to be able to find it instantly, or you need an engagement letter, or whatever you need, just be ready. You can jump around and download it so that it will be user friendly. I want to call it a firm in a box. Like, you can get it, and on day one, and I want people to do that, because I think that's another good point, that another good skill in your advantage, that you're ready to jump around on day one. Some people have education, I'm trying to think of the word, they'll use that as an excuse to not go talk or find to the client. They're just, oh, I'm going to read a little more. I'm going to read a little more. I'm going to get another doc. And you can go down that rabbit hole forever. So it's good to know. Yeah. Go look. I think people on day one joining our program, go find an owner, how I tell you to, and email them or message them. And great example being on Instagram, because that is the thing. Cannabis business owners are all over Instagram for certain, and they will continue to be so. They love to share their pictures. And so I keep getting comments, someone else that said they're having trouble finding someone on LinkedIn. And I was like, well, get off LinkedIn. People are sick of being bombarded over there. Go to Instagram or Clubhouse or whatever, try something different. As well. Now, let me turn it back to you. Tell us where business owners, the easiest way they can find you. We're going to have your site and your digital badge, all that. We're going to have that on our site, so they'll be able to find you too. But how can we reach you best?
I am Hannah Bookkeeper on Instagram. And then in Instagram, my link tree, it'll link to everything. It'll link to, I have a crowdfund right now. I'm trying to build women in cannabis. So I'm asking for crowdfunding to donate 100% of proceeds to women in cannabis that are trying to start businesses. And that's all in my link tree. And then cannabookkeepernewyork.com.
And I actually just saw that this morning. I forgot. I'm glad you brought that up. I want to bring that. So that, I think, is super awesome. there are so many people in our network doing things to raise money or social equity or whatever it is to bring more diversity. So definitely check out that link. And I love this comment in here. You said any and all funds will be directly allocated to an entrepreneur that needs it. And you said, and I don't mean me.
Yeah.
So that's awesome that you're going to be helping others. So yeah, definitely check that out. I'm so excited that we had you on, and we'll be able to share this as well. Is there any final thought you want to share for bookkeeper, accountant thinking about getting into the cannabis niche?
It's scary, but do it. Our clients are so much more fun.
Yes, that is a big, yeah, definitely more fun. Well, that is so awesome. Thank you so much for being on the show. And anyone else, if you want to check us out at dopecfo.com, you can always message me, and I'm pretty easy to find before you get into the program, and definitely even more so afterwards. So love to meet more of you.
Thank you.